Hello, everyone. We are back. We dropped out for a second there, but we would never leave you alone when you must learn things about pop culture, Star Wars, et cetera, and so forth. That's loud. It's off. Okay. We were just talking about cancellations, coronavirus, CC. All right. Let's move on to the next topic and we'll leave that behind. That's the old stuff. That's in the old video. So everything's being canceled. No one can go to anything. It's terrible. Yada yada yada. But there is one shining beacon of entertainment during this time, and that is streaming services. We're all using them. Netflix is way up. Disney Plus is way up. In a weird way, these services are kind of benefiting from this, except for Quibi. That has crashed and burned just a little bit. Because their whole thing was 10-minute episodes on the train to work. And that's not
it can only be viewed on your phone. Who knows if they'll be changing that or not, but yeah, that's kind of
That's too bad. But there is another big one coming around the corner. And even with what you might call an advantage, I don't know if you really should call it that, but I'm pretty worried about HBO Max. So this is really I think the last of the big entrants for a while. Warner Media is on par with Netflix and Disney in terms of the kind of content they can kind of command. But it's got some issues and we'll talk about it. First, let's watch this little HBO Max trailer. Are any of you excited for it? I would be curious to know.
Yeah.
Just begun. People are starting to notice. We are dying.
All right. Okay. HBO Max, which I still don't love that name, by the way, is. What do you think of it? Do you like it?
There's a lot. It has a lot of advantages. I think for me, seeing the DC movies.
Yeah.
It's kind of a plus, not to say that I would love to binge all the DC movies as much as I do Marvel, but it does have an interesting catalog. And I feel like the scope of the catalog is so very broad, even though they kind of fall under that Warner Media umbrella. So you've got stuff you can watch Wonder Woman or at some point Rick and Morty or Big Bang Theory.
So yeah. I mean, it has these the licensed content, I think, is pretty good. So HBO Max, which will cost $15 a month, by the way, will have stuff like Friends, Big Bang Theory, which are really, really bingeable shows. Those are the most watched on Netflix. That and The Office was going to the Peacock thing. It'll have all these Adult Swim shows for the man-children in the audience. So your Rick and Morty or your Adventure Time, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It'll have dramas like all of Doctor Who. It has all of that. All of the West Wing. Yeah. People love to binge that stuff. It has all the CW dramas. So everything from Supernatural to Supergirl to Riverdale, all that stuff. It definitely has its followers, right? Movies. It's got all the Lord of the Rings movies, all the Matrix movies, all the Conjuring movies. People love horror movies. It's got Sesame Street. It's got quite a lot. It has all Studio Ghibli. So Spirited Away.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Those I love.
And it's on top of that, still just HBO stuff. So you can watch Westworld, Game of Thrones, Succession, all of that. And I believe a regular HBO Go or Now subscription is $15 a month anyway. So if you think about it, it's kind of an added bonus.
Okay, I will say this, though. I still don't quite understand if this is just replacing HBO. Because I agree. If it replaces it, it's not as bad a deal. But the way they talk, they're not getting rid of just HBO Now or HBO Go, which leads me to believe you're not going to get everything. Maybe it'll be one of those things where you won't be able to watch the episodes immediately after or something, kind of like Hulu and FX or whatever. Because otherwise, I don't know why you would bother keeping two services.
Yeah, and that would be disappointing actually if that were to happen. Or like if you can't, like most people, like if I watch Westworld, I can click play, as soon as 8 o'clock hits or whatever. So that would definitely be a kind of turn off, I'm sure, for some people, like if they can't just watch, new episodes when they're new.
It definitely would for me. And also, okay, so the price point is another problem. I mean, look, $15 a month is like not only the most expensive one on here, it's like by a decent margin, the most expensive one on.
I think it's at least like double Disney for sure. And then, a couple dollars more than Netflix and some of the others.
And okay, so the license stuff is pretty good, but the originals they have, like, there's no real killer app here. Like, when Disney Plus came out, I was like, you know what? Disney is okay, but that Mandalorian show, that I want to watch. And I did, and I loved it. I'd do it again.
Are you not here for Not Too Late Night with Elmo? Come on, Dan.
My nephew might be, but probably not me.
Yeah.
So they got that. But okay, so like with that one, the Elmo show, like I get that you're trying to appeal to kids' parents, but like if they already have Disney Plus, which is just like tailor made for kids, are you gonna need that?
I don't think so. On regular, I don't know. I thought that, not to get too deep into the whole Elmo talk, but a talk show with Elmo made for kids. I'm like, kids don't really have the capacity to sit and watch a talk show. They kind of want to, see flashing dances and things like that, which I guess they'll have, but maybe that's me kind of like being a little nitpicky about Elmo. I
think it's a good point. Like, who is that for? Like, kids love Jay Leno. Like, do they?
And then they've got, that the Anna Kendrick show looks kind of interesting because HBO is kind of known for like the female-centric dating, Sex and the City or Girls and stuff like that.
Love Life.
So that seems up their alley, Love Life. And I think I read that every season's going to have a new protagonist looking for love, which they didn't really sell too much in the trailer. So that should make it an interesting concept. Otherwise, it's just the Anna Kendrick dating show.
I mean, it doesn't sound horrible, but like they also got new Looney Tunes cartoons. It's more stuff for kids, like a documentary On the Record, which is about injustices. They have like a reality crafting competition hosted by a famous YouTuber called Craftopia.
I know my sisters would watch that one. I can guarantee that at least.
That sounds great, but I just don't see like a must-see new show among those.
Yeah. Like, nothing. I feel like nothing's really going to get people talking.
Like all those originals seem like I might turn this on if I stumble across it after having watched something I wanted to watch. That's what it all feels like to me. Whereas, and The Mandalorian, I was like, I want to watch this, and I would get it. And the price point was low enough. So I'm concerned about what's going to happen with HBO Max. I bet they are too, but it's coming out on May 27th, so just over a month from now. So we're going to find out one way or the other. Do you plan to get it?
I am really, really, really stuck. I don't know. I think I'm going to wait it out. Kind of like I waited out Apple TV Plus until I realized that I qualified for like the free subscription. Technically, I still haven't watched it aside from like some screeners. So,
I mean, Apple TV Plus. Like, I don't know what's on that thing. That M. Night Shyamalan show.
The Chris Evans show is coming this Friday.
Right.
So if you do want to watch something, I did talk to the guy who plays Jacob the Kid. So he was fun to talk to. He was a really good actor. He got really into the role, and I assume it's fun working with Chris Evans. So that might be something to check out. But otherwise, it's still one of those just get the subscription or the trial and take it from there.
I mean, I want it to succeed, HBO Max, because I don't know. I'm kind of in HBO's corner. I just have gotten to be comfortable there over the past bunch of years covering Game of Thrones. But I don't know, man. I don't love its chances, but we'll see what happens come May 27th. Also, even though we're talking about quarantine streaming, we do have new shows coming down the pike. A new one that I'm pretty excited about is Penny Dreadful: City of Angels.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the original Penny Dreadful on Showtime?
No, I never had Showtime back whenever it came out, so this is all new to me.
I didn't either, but I caught it on like Netflix or Hulu. I actually forget what I watched it on, but I watched it like years later. And it was quite good. It's like this set in Victorian London, but also what if all these literary characters were real, like Dracula and the Wolfman and Frankenstein, people like that. it was very, very rich and very, very atmospherically drenched in emotion and just like Baroque, like kind of heart in your sleeve, like throw yourself from the tower kind of high drama. And it was really fun. It was a good show. This new one is Penny Dreadful, City of Angels, starring Game of Thrones veteran Natalie Dormer, Marjorie Tyrell, as a shape-shifting demoness, is set in Los Angeles in the 1930s, and it kind of intersects with like Chicano folklore, and Nathan Lane's a police officer, and Marjorie Tyrell is a demoness. It looks pretty interesting. Let's take a little look, shall we?
A leader will arise and set all the kingdoms to war, and all it will take is one spark.
Rise and shine. We got some butchery down the river.
I don't start until Monday.
Guess what, Slick? You start in 15 minutes.
This gets out, we're looking at a damn race war.
Let every Mexican in Los Angeles know I will build this road.
The cops, they'll shoot you down like animals.
If we let them push us out here, where does it end?
So, okay, I'm into this because I liked the first one. I like Natalie Dormer. And also, I think it's interesting that this guy clearly has something he wants to say. Like, the first Penny Dreadful was very much about these literary horror monsters. This time, we're dealing with like the rise of nationalism. You got the Nazi flag there. We're dealing with Natalie Dormer wants to like tear apart humanity because he thinks they're so wicked and awful. Yeah. We're talking about racial politics. Like it kind of revolves around this guy who's the first Chicano police officer in the LAPD, with Nathan Lane as his older grizzled partner, which is a fun little twist for him. What do you think, Mia?
There's a lot going on, and I feel like it's a lot for me to wrap my head around right now.
That's true.
That first, what was that? I was looking at it, that image with the guy and the face, whatever they did to him. Just I get grossed out really easily. So, but I don't want that to be like a deterrent for me not to watch this show, because it does it looks interesting enough.
It probably will have some gruesome parts. I mean,
oh no,
it's not torture porn. Like the first one was not that at all.
Yeah,
it's more of a dark drama that has to go into the seedier side of life sometimes. Not unlike Westworld occasionally.
Yeah.
Have there been many images on that? Have you ever stopped watching a show because of like a really gruesome image?
Yes.
I know the Red Wedding you mentioned.
100%. The Red Wedding was not that bad. I was just upset that like so many people died. I watched the first episode of The Terror, but season 2 where they were in Japan, or if that was season 3. Yeah, maybe
season 2.
And there was just a part, I won't describe it because I can already see it in my vision, but there was just a part like right at the very beginning where it got really kind of like minusculely gruesome, and I just like could not. I was like, that's in a line for me. I think I made it like 5 minutes in. So I have a very low tolerance for like some of the more gruesome stuff like on movies and TVs.
I think I recall what you're talking about. If it helps, that season kind of blew. So you were fine to get out. I mean, in terms of, I think this show, it doesn't have like a huge profile, but I think it could be like a sleeper hit right now. Because we're all looking for new things to watch, and it is like one of the few new things coming out. And the last one had a big cult following. I'm interested in it. I'm at least going to watch for a couple episodes and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like a murder sets off the plot, which
it's always
oh yeah. That's as old as time, that plot device. So maybe after the first they find the body, it'll ease off on the imagery. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think Natalie Dormer looks terrific in that.
I love Natalie. Yeah.
and she plays like tons of different characters. She like shifts her face to, you know, better infiltrate humanity. She's a blonde Nazi. She's like a short-haired bureaucrat. She's a zoot suit dancer person, and a demoness who blows up storefront windows she walks by. I think it could be really, really cool, because I can tell just by watching that, like, people really, they had like big ideas, you know, like you can tell that they're not like doing it by the numbers with this. It's too weird. It's too weird to be by the numbers, which is
I was gonna say it's got a lot going for it. Even like, you know, trying to hit, like you said, with like the Chicano themes and maybe having a little diversity in there, you know, also helps too. So I will say I'll look to you for guidance on this to see to see what to do about it.
So yeah, and that airs this Sunday on Showtime, which I do think I have. So yeah, I'll be tuning in. And again, if you can, I honestly forget what the old one was on. It might have been Netflix. I have it, so it can't be that obscure. But while we wait for that, what about the shows we're currently watching? What did you think of this most recent episode of Westworld on HBO? With again, I do not like these episode titles. Decoherence.
Decoherence, yeah.
What does that mean?
I had to look that up. I'm forgetting now. I don't know if it has something to do with either like DNA or cell. It's a sciencey thing. I thought maybe it was another word for like incoherence or something, because I was like, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that. This episode was interesting because it was one of those not Dolores episodes, even though it's still about Dolores.
Yeah, it was like no Dolores at all, except for that last part, I guess. Yeah,
the last part. And it was, I'm personally struggling because it is so Dolores-centric. And to me, the plot is getting a little silly. This is me personally.
Sure.
And also kind of actors getting put on the back burner or sidetracked to make way for more Dolores. So yeah, they kind of gave William, or the Man in Black Hat, kind of this interesting role. And I know you shared a story about him. We can talk about that later and how he felt. And then kind of just like even Bernard and stuff. Like Bernard is such a huge character. And I feel like he's had a total of like maybe 10 minutes of screen time this whole entire season.
He's not really been doing a lot, has he?
Yeah. He came in like at the last minute, like, "Hey guys, remember me?" Like, I sure do, Bernard.
I mean, like, I'm all for focused storytelling. I haven't minded that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I just my problem with the show always is I don't know if it's as smart as it thinks it is. Like, look, as fun as an idea as it is to see William, the Man in Black, talk with like all the past versions of himself and psychoanalyze himself, like that has definitely been done, and it's a little tired. And I gotta say, like, I'm not even sure why he's still around. I didn't think that they would bring him back at all. And now we have an episode where he just gets to talk about to himself all these other times, this other forms in a little room and just work it out. I don't know. I still find the show compelling to watch, but I feel like there's not enough. It's like missing connections between the scenes. Like, I don't know. I think the points they're driving at are, when you get right down to them, not that mind-blowing. Like, you know, it's wrong for human beings to be under the thumb of an authoritarian regime, whether that's flesh and blood or wire and silicone. Like, okay, we could figure that. And I'm just not really bowled over by much of what's happening. What did I like?
I think I have become numb to that type of message, and maybe it's because I've been watching Devs too, which I know we want to talk about.
Oh, sure.
But I feel like I'm sort of kind of becoming numb to like people clubbing me overhead and telling me that, you know, life doesn't matter. We don't have free will. Choices don't exist. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm worthless and I'm meaningless and I don't matter. I think that should kind of sell for us. Yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, everything that I'm saying is automatic. It doesn't matter. But I wish that there was something more to maybe to Westworld than just, the humans are actually hosts because they copycat things, or their life is programmed, or it's like, let's just get back to the actual plot other than really trying to drum in like this is more profound than you think because humans and hosts are not so different. But I was just kind of feeling a little beat up this week.
I feel you. Yes, I'm on it, and I know that some folk are really enjoying it, and it's holding okay in the ratings. Like the ratings are solid. They're consistent. They're not like crazy, but they're consistent. So people are enjoying it, and it is impeccably made and fun to watch. And I mean,
yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know. I just can't seem to really embrace it with my whole heart anymore. There's something that it like turned at some point, and I can't get back on the road for me.
I think because they did, since they just announced that it's getting renewed for a 4th season.
Yeah, they are.
And we probably got another like 2 years, obviously, before it comes out. I would like to see them try to find a way to curb it back to the park and bring back that personality and that life to the situation in whatever way that looks like. Maybe they want to like roam free or something like that. But again, it's like every so often I have to remind myself, like, this is Westworld. It's not Black Mirror, or it's not
it's Black
Devs or something like that. Or Rick and Morty.
I mean, like, yeah, because part of the reason is like it feels like they're more concerned with like giving you this message about the danger of artificial intelligence. They are like making these characters into interesting people who act consistently. I feel like they want to preach more to you than they want to tell like a fun story a bit.
Which brings me to a point in when William was having a conversation with himself, and he was talking to his young self as a boy, and the young William, who like wears a suit, was like, or not, yeah, he was like, I all I did was read books, and how could I end up this way? And then they flash back to the little kid who, like, when he broke a kid's arm or something on the playground. But it's like the old William was such a pacifist. He didn't do anything. He was afraid to like shoot somebody. So how did he, that to me felt like a character and consistency to be like, oh yeah, he was a bad kid, but also as a young adult, he was really nice and shy. I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
He's a bad seed. Maybe he was like a bad seed as a kid and then like suppressed it in his like youth, and then he doubled back later. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I got kind of angry. Yeah. So yeah, we've got 2 more episodes left.
Yeah.
We'll
I mean, I like the actors. Maeve is always fun when she talks and gives like her little, little sassy bon mot. She's great at that.
Yeah.
Although, why did she kill all those Nazis in the simulation? Like, what's the point of that?
She could have walked right past them, made them freeze. It was just for the spectacle, I guess.
I can't think of anything else. It was kind of the same problem with like that whole like genre drug trip last week. It was like, okay, so I get it. Like, you get to make the thing go black and white and then like, pulse the lights, but like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
literally just for the spectacle, just doing it to be doing it.
I mean, we're not being very generous to it, but I don't know. It's not making me want to be. It's not making me want to be generous. Okay, I did have a picture, but since you talked about being grossed out by things, then we'll just skip it. If you know what I'm talking about. That ending was like, and then like Charlotte Hale, her character. I don't know. Yeah. I have trouble sympathizing with her too much too. She chose her family, and then she was blown up, and now she's a She looks like Anakin Skywalker right after Mustafar, right?
Yeah. That to me was a little weird. Oh no, my AirPods are okay. They're good. When you hear like the little battery low thing, I'm good. No more technical difficulties. Hale to me was interesting because again, we learned that big plot twist that Dolores was basically like every host that she assigned, but also they are developing their own personalities, and the Hale is kind of like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to da-da-da. So how is that? I'm trying to find what's the line between it being like kind of Hale or like completely Dolores? Because I would think like if I just like put my brain in somebody else's body, it would still be me. There'd be no personality attached to that. It'd just be I feel like we've seen this a couple other times, and I really can't think of examples right now off the top of my head, but like just transferring your consciousness. So why is it that Hale is acting like, this scared new person instead of Dolores? And I'm getting like really frustrated.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of like, she's gotten to the point where she's developed a personality of her own, I guess, is what they're going for. I didn't hate, but yeah, it's just they're just not selling it to me the way I want it to be sold. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. What do you think of Devs? Because that's another show that's in some ways very like Westworld, that explores some similar themes. Like, the dangers of advanced technology, what it can do, how it can kind of dehumanize people, or, take us on a dark path. Do you think... Could that show work for you? Because now we've seen the finale.
Yeah, you know what? This one was a little bit fresh to me. Again, even though I said I was kind of being, hit over the head with that message, there was something about this one and the way they explored that theme was at least a little bit refreshing. I'm not sure if I could put my finger on it. But maybe I think it's more so kind of given it's a little thought provoking in a way, like if you were to be in Lily's spot or in Ron Swanson's spot, as the head of that company or whatever, what would you do with that technology? Or what would you do with that information? And so I think to kind of see those events unfold, like if you knew the future, how would you act? Would you still do the same thing, or would you try to break away from it? So that's what I've kind of enjoyed about this series. And I liked it more than I thought I would.
I did too. It's like Westworld. It's very, very well made, and clearly has a vision behind it. I think a more interesting vision than Westworld, and a more compelling aesthetic. Like Westworld, like we were just saying, like, okay, you do genre because the drug trip because it looks cool, and you do a round table of all your pastels because it looks cool. I felt like whenever there is a cool visual, like I love the set design in Devs. I love the golden, glowing,
all the shots are just really, really beautifully put together.
I think this before. I love the juxtaposition of like this ancient choral music next to kind of all this high tech imagery. Yeah, it gave me like kind of a like nature versus technology thing going on. Yeah. I do agree with you. After we talked last time about it, I went back, I watched the next episode, and was like, oh, you're right. The girl who plays Lily is a little stiff. Like, literally, after we talked, I watched the next one, and I'm like, oh, God, she is. Like, perhaps.
My favorite thing in this whole series about that is, like, several characters have been like, wow, she's so determined. She's so brave and she's so courageous. And she'll just stand there and be like, I am, thank you. It's like, I'm not buying that. I feel like I see that a lot in like animes where they're like, wow, how can he do this? How can he go on? He's so, brave and courageous. But, the anime characters actually kind of have the gusto to warrant that. So every time they praise her, I'm like, are we seeing the same person?
I definitely co-sign that. You're right. They do, like, in the finale, like, there were like two different people who, like, the secret Russian hobo spy was like, you were so I had to help you. And then Katie and Ron Swanson were all talking about, like, she is amazing. Yeah. And I mean, she has guts. She walks into Devs. But I mean, at this point, we're all like wrapped up in, is it really her choice? Like, is there choice? Does it exist? And they didn't really explain. I mean, I guess not that they have to, but like kind of the clincher moment is. So I'm going to spoil it now. If you don't want to be spoiled for Devs, please turn away. Is that they built the system that can predict anything, and the climax is it predicts her and Forrest, Ron Swanson, Ron Offerman, dying in the Devs lab, like in exacting detail. And she does something that wasn't in the predicted simulation. But I mean, how? I mean, if it's really that accurate, I mean, maybe like knowing what's going to happen gives you the power to change it.
Yeah.
I can see that. So I guess, so are they saying that human life is deterministic or not? Was she just the only one special enough to make a choice? Was that it?
Yeah,
She's the only person cool enough?
Yeah, because like kind of thinking about it was like, did they not have, it was like, at what point do you gain the willpower to be like, oh, I don't have to do this, just because I've seen it doesn't mean I have to do it. Kind of like when the scene on the bridge when Lyndon was about to jump, and she's like, this is the part where you jump, you're gonna step over the ledge, but I'm not. They all kind of act like this.
Yes,
I'm not gonna tell you what's gonna happen. It's like, or you could just save him. You don't have to be that way. So I also thought it was kind of interesting, like with all the religious symbols, like talking about Messiah. They definitely tried to compare like Forrest to Jesus.
That
having
theme came on pretty hard in the end there.
That like, and I was like noticing like the rings around the tree. So like early in the shots, they form it to be like a halo. I was like, I get it. And then of course the big reveal that Devs is actually Deus, which I guess is God in Latin. And I was kind of
resurrection happening too, like the resurrection of another life. Yes, a lot of.
I was kind of elated that Deus was his one project and Ex Machina was his other project. So he put that both together, and now it's complete. So that tickled me a little bit. But overall, I would say that I do like it, and I kind of like that it closed itself off in like a conclusive effort. Like there's really no guessing that there could be a second season, but it doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, I like that too. I think again, kind of after Game of Thrones, after some other big dramas, the instinct is to keep shows going, just because that's what American shows do. But they don't have to. I mean, you can wrap up a story, just tell a story complete, and then move on out of there.
Exactly.
Westworld might have been better if it had been a little shorter.
Yeah. My new phrase is there's bravery in brevity. So.
Oh, I love that. Is that your invention?
Which I just came up with that. I hope no one else has said that before.
Copyright that immediately. Get on that. Yes. Call your IP guy. That's really good. Yeah. There's brave.
But that also made me wonder then, could this have just been another movie like Ex Machina where we cut out a lot of like, I think it definitely could have been worked where there was like, exciting conclusion and didn't have to be drawn for 8 or whatever hours. But hey,
you're probably right. I mean, again, after we come out of this quarantine situation, who knows what the industry will look like, and who knows what the new trends will be. Maybe we'll go back to movies because they have been playing catch-up TV for a while. All right. I think that's all we have to talk about this week. I hope some of you guys stuck with us. I'm sorry about the technical hiccup. It happens. We're telecommuting. If any of you guys have questions for us, of course, put them in the comments, or feel free to leave a review on iTunes and ask a question there, and we'll definitely read it on the next program, on the next show, which will be at next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, here in the Winter is Coming Facebook page. Mia, have any other thoughts before we sign off?
No.
I think Westworld will be the last season is the next one. I feel like that's where it's going.
Ooh, I thought I saw something where it said they had like 5 seasons planned. I'm like, oh God, no.
There was like one
quote sad,
where Nolan said like, I want to do at least one more. And I figured like, that's all they're going to be allowed to do.
Yeah.
Is my guess. I don't hate the show. It's just...
it needs some redirection.
It needs to have ended. Maybe I do hit the show. We'll talk about it more next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Mia, always great talking to you. And we'll be back next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.